It marks 2 years since the Marshall Fire, and now Xcel Energy has two new lawsuits to deal with. One, filed by Boulder County Commissioners, the town of Superior, and the city of Louisville, is tied to the power line investigators say was the likely source of one of two fires that merged that day. It claims the Xcel caused the fire to spread faster and that the utility could have prevented it. Xcel also now faces a wrongful death suit filed by the family of 91-year-old Nadine Turnbull. She died in the Marshall Fire. The family's lawyer expects the court will decide on a trial date next month, that the trial may not happen until 2025. Now, despite all the lawsuits and the investigation, Xcel maintains the cause of the Marshall Fire was not related to its power lines.
9 News legal analyst Whitney has been keeping an eye on all of the lawsuits that have been filed. He joins us this morning. Thank you so much for coming in.
Sure, good to be here.
So these lawsuits really started right after the fire, but these are some of the latest ones. Kind of go through some of the lawsuits and their claims.
Right, there's so many lawsuits here, and this is what we call complex litigation because you have a number of defendants, a number of plaintiffs, and then everybody suing each other. You have cross claims, counterclaims, and all this. So starting at the beginning, back in 2022, actually, there were a number of lawsuits. They were filed by homeowners. There was 150 insurance companies that actually filed claims, and they're filing claims to say, hey, we had to pay out this money when it was your fault. So those lawsuits were filed. Then we're coming up on the statute of limitations on this 2 years. So a number of Boulder government entities actually filed lawsuit. And then, of course, as you just mentioned, the wrongful death. So this is, again, complex litigation. This is going to go on for a long time. I think it probably should settle and maybe will settle because of the complexities. So that's it in a nutshell.
Let's specifically talk about the case from the city of Louisville, from the town of Superior. What do you make of that case?
Well, here's what's difficult about this is you're talking about two different fires. The one that started on the 12 tribes, which was a kind of a smoldering thing. Then the Xcel fire, they're saying that an unhinged moor created these sparks that created the fire in the dry brush type thing. And so that's going to be the issue, is how do you determine who was responsible and how do you allocate that responsibility? And so what some of these utilities or some of the government entities are suing about is what's called inverse condemnation, which says, and that's what the homeowners are suing for as well, saying your actions as this public utility caused the values of our homes, obviously, to go down. Yeah. And so this is, again, complex litigation, and there'll be a lot to sort out for years to come. And some of the lawsuits, there haven't been trial dates set, but some of them are looking to 2025 for a trial date.
So, I mean, you had these two fires merged together. What kind of evidence do you even bring into a trial to try to prove that?
That's a great question. And I remember watching the Boulder County DA, and he did an excellent job in determining why there weren't going to be criminal charges. Now, a criminal standard is much higher. But what he did was go through the investigation, the reports, and what happened was they had a number of experts, just so many different experts saying, hey, here were the different causes. And essentially they said, yes, Xcel, you were responsible for it. Now, Xcel is claiming, hey, we didn't get a chance to participate in that investigation. And of course, they're saying it started at 12 tribes and it wasn't our fault. That's the issue with this with really a lot of cases, personal injury and otherwise. How do you determine who did it and what was the cause of the damage? But I mean, ultimately, it comes through. I don't want to be defending Xcel saying, oh, it wasn't really our fire. It was this fire that caused the damage. So that's where the experts come in. And you have to consider this is going to be a jury trial. There's already the defendants have requested a jury. So this is going to be citizens like you and I trying to understand these highly complex issues with all kinds of experts. I mean, this will be a months-long trial.
A jury versus a judge deciding here. And just to clarify, you're talking about the statute of limitations. That's a 2-year mark, which is coming up tomorrow. And that's why we're kind of seeing a bunch of these happen right now.
Correct. And interestingly, before the report even came out, we had a number of lawsuits in early 2022. Then when the report came out, as I just mentioned, which was an extensive investigation done by these Boulder County officials saying, hey, it was Xcel. Then you saw a plethora of lawsuits right after that. And now as we're coming up on the statute, you're seeing, more people. And usually, a lot of you're required to do your due diligence and have this information before you file the lawsuit. But here, there's going to be people filing the lawsuit, and then the information is going to keep coming out. But of course, we have that investigation that came out in June. That was a 1.5-year investigation, and people were highly critical for how long it took.
Right,
but the extent of it was really helpful now at this point.
Yeah.
Sounds like the jury has their work cut out for them.
Yeah.
The jury has their work cut out for them, and one of the issues, though, is Xcel, whether they actually have the money to pay. They sent out a notice to their shareholders saying, look, we have about $500 million, and there's claims that it was $2 billion in damages. So, how they sort that out, that could be the first few lawsuits.
Right.
Could be a judgment of $500 million. So, and you have to consider, the jury is people like you and I. They're going to be pissed if they find that Xcel knew that this was going to happen, they could have prevented it, and all this damage. So there's a punitive damage element, which is to punish them.
Yeah.
So that punitive damage could be really significant.
Yeah, it's all big, and I'm sure we're going to talk about it a lot more over the coming years. All right, Whitney, thank you so much.